Hello and welcome back to the ME7 Podcast. We are absolutely delighted and honoured to be joined by Mr. Jonny Williams. Jonny, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. I'm okay.
Yeah?
All good. Yeah.
Obviously, I suppose while we're sitting down here with one game to go, we'll come on to it in a bit more depth later, but how would you sort of sit here today with one game left of the season? How would you assess how it's gone?
Yeah, I think frustration, inconsistent, haven't been a million miles away, I don't think. As a group, I think we've just fallen short. You know, we wanted to, I think our aim was to be in the playoffs this season, realistically, with the team we had, and we've just fallen short with that. A frustrated group, because we've all got our expectations, you know, the fans, the staff, the players. And when we set out in pre-season, that was the aim, was to, you know, have a successful season and make the playoffs at least. But we haven't been consistent enough as Wrexham, MK Dons, Mansfield. But we've shown we can beat them top teams as well. So I think the most frustrating bit is not picking up the points we could have against the bottom half of the table. I think we've dropped a lot of points. But there has been positives and there has been progression, I understand, from last year. So, up and down season, to be honest. But overall, just fallen short. And, shame, really, because we would have loved, as a group, to have achieved something this season.
Yeah, we'll get onto it in a bit more depth later then. You've had a wonderful career, playing right at the top of the game.
Yeah.
You started at Palace, obviously local Crystal Palace, 2002.
Yeah.
You were pretty impressed with my research.
Yeah, I was actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it was your youth academy, 2002. Just tell us, after being, you were there for 17 years at Crystal Palace as an academy, then a first team player playing in the Premier League. Tell us about your time at Palace.
Yeah, well, why you say that? I just think of a picture I've got on the wall when I was 8 years old. I had a bit of a bowl haircut. What I'd do to have that now, by the way. Mum gave me a bowl haircut. I got a picture on the wall. I was 8 years old, and it was actually signed by Derek Millen, which is Keith's dad.
Oh wow!
Believe it or not, but it's I had an amazing time at Palace. I think when you're in the academy, you only ever look forward to the next game, the next year, because you only get 1 year contracts. So you have to perform in them years to get the extra year, and the pressure's on, because if not, you're released and, you know, back to school and find it somewhere else. And I was lucky enough that the coaches believed in me, liked the way I played as a kid throughout. And then, you know, I never thought I'd make my first team debut at Palace, and we finished, I think, 17th or 18th in my breakthrough year. I broke my leg within that year. We also had a run to the Carling Cup, it was then. Semi-final, we lost to Cardiff on pens. But I was mainly in the cup team, but a lot of sub-appearances off the bench as a youngster. But the next year we got promoted, which was amazing. And then I played a few games in the Premier League under Pulis and Holloway, had a few more injuries, and it really kind of stunted my career at Palace. I couldn't seem to stay fit from about 17 to 21, just kept picking up injuries after injuries. Maybe the way I played, maybe the way you're a youngster, you see it here. The amount of times you get kicked. Yeah. To be honest, it still happens. I think whatever level I played at, though, I like to carry the ball, so people are allowed to tackle. So I'm going to get fouled, and I do like to take touches and dribble with it. And you know, I didn't get out of the way of them challenges when I was younger. Spent a lot of time on the treatment table, unfortunately. But yeah, I loved my time there and achieved some great memories. What would be if you look back at it, your best memory at Crystal Palace? Either my first team debut. Yeah. My first league debut was against Brighton at the Amex, and we won 3-1. Couldn't believe I was starting. Local derby. Yeah, it was my first start. I thought I might be lucky to get on the bench here, and then I was starting against Poyet's team, who were a good side that year. I think it was their first loss at the Amex, and obviously a big game, big derby. Obviously the playoff final was special. And the semi-final beating Brighton over 2 legs, and Premier League debut for Palace as well. Like, I used to look at Routledge when I was in the academy, because he made his way through as an 8-year-old all the way, and he played in the playoff final as a 19-year-old. So one of them for sure. So,
they're really well known, aren't they? for their academy.
Yes.
They definitely believe in that youth, and the amount of academy players that you see even now.
Yeah.
They're even now playing first team football. Like, was that sort of probably behind your decision staying there for however long you did, because you saw that pathway?
Yeah, I think I always wanted to stay anyway, but you did feel as a youngster then, you look at Scannell and Victor Moses, Wilf was just before me. There was loads, Klein. There were so many that were making debuts and given the opportunity even before me under Warnock. He wasn't afraid to feel if they were good enough and could make a difference. He'd give them the chance. Obviously, it's harder now in the Premier League. You got the exceptional fullbacks. They give Wan-Bissaka, Tyrick Mitchell's done fantastic, but it's obviously harder now to get through for Palace. But back then in the Championship, I think being an academy player, given you a chance, you're always going to be grateful for that. So.
What would be the best player played against that level?
For Palace?
Yeah. In the Prem?
Oh, in the Prem. Oh, yeah. David Silva.
Yeah.
Yeah, played against Man City, and he was just on a different level. Yeah. We was penned in at the time, away at Etihad, under Pulis, like low block.
Yeah.
He was just pulling the strings, and Nasri was in that team. He was top draw as well, but there's a few.
Would that been the year that Aguero scored the last minute winner? Would it have been that year?
I think it was afterwards.
Was it?
It was 2013-14.
Right, yeah.
I think that was 2012, 2013.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but he was special player.
I'll throw a few low moves. Permanent wise, Charlton was the next destination.
Yes.
A name around here that's not very
Yeah.
very well. But go on. Tell us about 2 years at Charlton.
Yes. Well, it was my first proper permanent since I left, but because I'd had a few loans at the time, it was an easier transition for me. But no, I really enjoyed my time there. Went there in January, and we obviously got promoted, which was amazing. It was a bit tough because it was against my old team in the final that I played for the following year in Sunderland, so it was a bit of a tough one because obviously I had some mates there, and but at the time, something that was an amazing achievement for Charlton at the time to go up by the playoffs in a sellout was fantastic, and I'm still hoping we can do that here. So
have you mentioned about Sunderland? Have you watched that Sunderland Till I Die yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find it quite weird that you feature for Sunderland in it, and then you feature later on down the line of them getting beaten in the playoff final?
I think my debut for Charlton was against Sunderland at home, and they interviewed me then, Netflix, because I was following Sunderland, and they said, "Oh, we might see you in the playoffs," and it was in January. I was thinking, "Oh, probably not."
Yeah.
And then you fast forward it, and you're playing them against the final, and I'm about to come on. It's a bit crazy how people's careers pan out and how paths cross and stuff. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. The following year, we got off to a flyer. We were in the top 6 in the Championship up until October, November time. We got hit with a massive injury crisis. I got injured myself. Important players, Val Taylor, etc. We really got hit with injuries. And I came back, and we were about 21st, 22nd after about a 3-month layout. And then we were fighting relegation, and then lockdown happened. And then the first time we went into the relegation zone, games were cancelled for 4 months. So the first time we went into the relegation, we had to spend 4 months in the relegation zone thinking, oh no, if they cancel the season now, we're going to get relegated. And we haven't been in it all year. But we went down the last day. We played a really good Leeds team. We got battered by them up at Ellen Road. And Barnsley went and scored in the last minute against Brentford.
Yes.
Because Brentford needed to win. And they were both drawing. And Barnsley went down the other end and scored, and that relegated us in the last minute. So, fine margins in football. And little moments like that change your career paths and destinations and what's next for people. So it's a funny game. And,
You talk about injuries. Obviously, just having this conversation here, you can tell how frustrated you are with it in terms of it stunted your career, stunted that you to jump up to the next level. And we talk about mental health in football. It's a massive part in now football.
Yeah.
just from that point of view, I won't talk about the injuries and whatever else, but from that point of view, how have you found that across your career, just dealing with the mental side of it? Because it's a big thing for players, isn't it? Certainly when they're injured.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely tough. You know, one thing you can't do is ever doubt yourself as a footballer, because I think mentally, the mental aspect in football is huge. I think it's underrated, and you know, there's a lot more help now available to footballers in terms of confidence, self-belief, doubts, injury setbacks, and that's not even mentioning people's own personal lives, problems, etc. So there's all sorts going on, and footballers are just normal people at the end of the day that, you know, talented and been selected to play at a professional level. So yeah, no, everyone's got their own problems in their lives, and I feel there's a lot more freedom for players to speak up now if they are struggling, or which is great, because I'm sure back in the day, people, if you did, you'd be seen as weak, and and that's not really sin now. And I think that's a great thing in football, where people can speak up, and it's okay to not be feeling okay.
Yeah,
I think that's great. So.
Yeah, that's a really good quote. I think it's important, the fact of, like you just said, that footballers are not only just footballers, are they? They're people. They have things going on, certainly in their personal life as well, that can I guess, yeah, it would even affect you right up until on the pitch on a Saturday or Tuesday night, does it?
Yeah, of course. And yeah, thankfully, you know, I've got I haven't had many issues recently, so I've been able to focus fully on football. But you know, everyone's got their own problems, and of course, it's about trying to, when you step across that white line, you know, for me, I'm fully focused on the game, and all my, if there is personal issues or whatever issues that are going on in your life, they get parked to the side, and that's always how I've been. And his full focus is on winning the game for Gillingham and playing the best you possibly can and giving 100%. So yeah, I've always had that switch.
Good.
I could switch.
Another name that we don't like to mention down here, Swindon.
Yeah, I came to realise that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Yeah, you spent it was a couple of years there, Swindon.
2 years, yeah.
Yes, 2 years at Swindon. Looking from the outside in, that was certainly where you played your best football in a long, long time. Did you feel that as well at Swindon?
Yeah, I think the main aim for me at that point in my career, I was looking at a lot of options, to be honest. I'd, you know, been to and fro, different teams, loans, permanents. Some have been great, some have been not so great. Managers' decisions, injuries. Kind of got to a point, I was only, I think it was 27, 28 maybe, but I was, you know, looking at even potentially going to Australia and stuff. I just wanted to have a complete different experience, and I'm glad I didn't, and I'm glad it didn't work out in the end. But I was looking at, you know, potentially looking at playing abroad and playing a different, you know, style of football. But it was Ben Garner, who I knew from Palace in the academy and first team, knew him really well, and he was like, I just want you to see you playing with a smile on your face and enjoying your football again. Like, we're going to play a certain way of football that you love, and I think it will get the best out of you. And you know, I did really enjoy playing in that system. We played it was either a 5-3-2 or a 4-3-3, but I remember playing in the middle of the pitch for most of the season, and really enjoying myself, and you know, putting in good performances, getting assists, creating goals, being involved in goals, scoring goals, and we just fell short. We lost in a penalty shootout to Port Vale, which was a big shame. But you know, Swindon, you know, they've been a tough bit opposition this season as well. They play a nice brand of football that's hard to play against at times. They've got a lot of freedom and hard to pick up and mark, and they've done that again this year. But they've obviously not been consistent enough. And, well, they started the season on fire. I thought they were travelling really well, but they've hit a massive dip of form, and they've really struggled in the second half of the season. But yeah, no, I did really enjoy it.
Anything to do with us nicking their best assist maker?
yeah, hopefully next year. Yeah.
And they didn't beat us this season.
No,
so
yeah,
we'll
we
put that in
points. Yeah, 100%. We well, we should have had 6, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it is what it is.
That last minute goal was it's tough.
Obviously, last season you scored against us in that crazy 3-3 draw at the county ground. Did you? Obviously, that was the time where we'd seen the full Gallinson sort of team come into flow and things were high at the football club and everything else. Even though you'd scored that day and you were playing for another team, did you sort of ever have a little eye on, I'd like to be a part of that?
I did, to be honest. I did. I've always felt like that. In recent times, just probably because I'm from Kent. I know, my dad was born in Wales, and I do feel Welsh as well. But I was born in Kent, and it is the only football league team in Kent. So there's always been a one eye on Gills, and even start of the season when they're bottom of the league. Well, I was just hoping they'd get out of it and not go down to out of the football league, because once you're out, I think it's tough to get out of. So no, I was buzzing, to be fair, that Jill stayed up last year, and it's funny, like I say, it's funny how football works, like how paths cross, and I was buzzing to sign here, and it means a lot to me to play for this club. So yeah.
Right, we've got to talk about the saga then, the summer saga.
Didn't tell me about that, Phil.
I know. We'll talk about he signed.
Yes.
It was completely put over social media about Bradford, fully in for you, and right at the last minute, our wonderful agents here at the football club nicked in right at the last minute and got you. Talk about it, how it happened.
Yeah, so at the time I was on my holidays, so I think one thing I haven't always done in my career is signed early for a football club in a window. So it was the first season I was out of contract, time at Swindon had come to an end. I wanted something new. There was a few teams interested, and obviously Bradford had come in straight away and they wanted to get something done quickly, and I actually had Kiefer Moore's wedding in between the whole saga, so I'd agreed terms, like players do agree terms, and I guess until things are signed, it's signed. And what I will say is I don't like letting people down, and it was a really tough decision for me because I've been brought up the way to I like to make people happy and be happy myself. So it was a tough decision. It was a really tough decision for me and my family, simply because we had agreed terms and stuff, and the plan was to go up there and sign obviously the next day. So me and my partner stayed up in a hotel, as you're aware. We did end up paying for in the end, and Jules came in that evening before I was meant to sign the next day. Countless phone calls with family, friends, agent, because I felt like I'd been obliged to, I'd agreed. So it's almost like giving you your word. But I think the thing that stands still, I think other people would mess you over in a heartbeat, and it's happened to me in my career many a times. And for once in my career, I thought, I'm going to think about myself and what I want to do. And you put two things on the table, it made sense for me to sign for Gillingham in the end, and that was going to be best for me and my family at this stage of my career. And I believe everything happens for a reason. So, I didn't sleep at all that night. I felt awful. I was absolutely shattered. And the next minute I was on the train back home, and here I am. I love playing for the club, and I'm glad I've made the decision. I'm sorry for all the people I've let down. I've spoken to people and apologised for how it's turned out, but it's my life and my journey, and for once I wanted to take control of that and make that decision for me and my family. So.
Yeah, you said you're a Kent boy, and you can certainly see this season that even watching you in previous teams and clubs, that you almost give that extra yard off the ball for us, because it comes across that this whole project and everything at Gillingham Football Club means so much to you.
Yeah, no, it was a really exciting moment for me. I think once I'd signed, I was really excited at the prospect of what could be achieved at this football club. I haven't always enjoyed coming here and playing here, but it's nice to be on the right side and be in a blue shirt when coming to Priestfield. So I have really enjoyed that. But for sure, being from Kent and playing for a Kent team means a lot to me. I've always given 100% wherever I've gone, but it would be amazing if we could achieve something special whilst I was at the club to get the team back where it should be in League One. And I'll continue to do my utmost best to help get the team there. And every time I'm selected or every time I'm on the pitch, I'll be doing my absolute best. And I think go to bed and say, give them 100% in training and games. And I think as players, that's all we can do. And I think we have done that this year as a group.
Yeah. Go for it. Go for it. Good. Cool. Yeah, let's get on to Wales.
Yes.
Big part of your career. Played at major championships and competitions as well. How was that?
Yeah, I think as a footballer, you can always be thinking, what if? You always think, what if I didn't get injured there? Could I have achieved more? Could I have made more Premier League appearances? Could I have done this? Could I have done that? At the same time, I could be thinking, what if I didn't achieve them things as well? So I think the last few years I've become a lot more grateful for what I have achieved and what I have been able to achieve, and forget about the injuries and etc. in football that you can't always control, that are out of your hands. And I think, I'm so grateful to have been to 3 major tournaments in Wales. Someone had told me that at the start of my career, I would have said they would have been dreaming. So I've had some amazing moments in a Wales shirt. Some of my highest in my career to go to the Euros, but to get to the semi-finals with Wales was an amazing achievement, beyond all of our wildest dreams, really. We rode a wave that summer, and we had some confidence and a togetherness in a group, which showed how important being together as a group and as a fan base and as a whole unit, you can kind of go where you want to go, really. And it's true. It's some amazing achievements and memories, and had a great time.
Let's talk about this season. We spoke about it right at the start of the chat, that inconsistent is probably the best way to put it. Just from your individual point of view, just you personally, how would you sort of assess your season as a whole, as your first full season as a Gills player?
Yeah, it's been frustrating at times. Like in the modern day, football is about stats. It wasn't so much when I first come through. And you look at Grealish's quote the other day about stats, goals and assists. It is all about goals and assists. And he could play an amazing game, but not get the praise, and score 2 tap-ins, and someone would say it was an amazing game. And that is football. It is about stats now. I'd like to think that football people would see, even though my stats haven't been great this year, and I'm my worst critic, so I know when I've played well and when I haven't. But I like to think football people that know football can see what I do bring to the team outside of just goals and assists. I've been involved in many goals this year and not get the direct stat, and Saturday was another example for me. Playing a pass into the box and Timmy goes and scores, but I don't get a direct goal involvement, and you don't see that as a stat. But for me personally, I like to see, as long as I'm being involved and creating opportunities and getting the team up the pitch, then that's great. But my main aim is winning games, and unfortunately we haven't won enough as we would have liked to have been in the top 7. So it's been a frustrating season, I think, in terms of statistics, but I don't feel like I'll be the only one. I think as a group we've fallen short this year, and to be honest, I'm really excited about things we've learned this year and what we can all do better and become more exciting to watch, even more exciting to watch, because I think we have improved that. I think we are better to watch. We went head to head with Mansfield on Saturday, one of the best teams in the league, and we had the better of them first half. It's been frustrating, but at the same time I played, I think, 47, 48 games in season, probably the most I've ever done in all competitions, including EFL Cup, Carling Cup, FA Cup. And for me to play 48 games is a great achievement as well. So you have to look at the positives as well, and there is positives. But ideally, I'm my worst critic, so I know I want to get more direct goal involvements, and I'm already excited for next year because 1 goal and 2 assists in 48 games. I know that for a fact. I can improve that because
Yeah.
I scored 10 goals last year. So I know I can do it, and it's something I want to work on. And I think we'll all be thinking the same. And we as a group, we all need to pull together and build each other up. And maybe it's a confidence thing here. You know, we've been lowest scorers last year as well, and again this year. So it's something we need to improve on. And I'm all about progression. So, you know, the club's progressed this year. We're in a better place than we were last year. But again, we want to progress again next year. And it's about all staying together and building on that. And hopefully we can have an exciting one.
Let's talk about the manager then, Stephen Clements. His first season as a head coach, come in October last year. So, yeah, just give us a bit of background from a player point of view, how Stephen's been.
Yeah, he's been brilliant with the lads. The lads all love him. You know, a great coach. Great to be around. To be honest, one of the nicest men I've met in football, especially managers. Someone that is easily approachable and you can talk to, and he gets it because he played at a top level, so you can speak to him and he can help improve you, and not just technically but mentally as well. He understands footballers and their minds and the way people work, and most of all, he's a good person. So yeah, no, I've really enjoyed working with him, and yeah, it's his first job, and there'll be things that he would have looked back on and learned from this year, and things that he would have loved, and things that he thinks that we can work on as a group. So yeah, no, I'm excited, and it's just a shame we haven't finished where we thought we thought we should be.
Yeah, just missing out then on the playoffs. Hungry for next season.
Yeah, I think well, we've had training today, and you almost get a sense of the boys are, you know, gutted, frustrated, but there's a drive. It's not just like we're dead on our feet. We've still got one game where we're unbeaten at home since Boxing Day. So there is positives there, and we don't want to get beat on Saturday. We want to win. We want to end the season high. And I got that sense of hunger today. It's probably bang on. That's probably the word I'd explain. Training session today, there was a real tempo. It was like flip-flops on, sandals on. There's still one game left, and we want to win. We're pulling on the shirt, and we want to do the best for the fans that come and watch us, because we want to finish as high as we can. And if we can finish in the top 10, then yeah, it's not where we want it to be. But you know, again, it's progression. So we can only do what we can on the next game. We can't look at Mansfield, another game we haven't won, which is really frustrating because it's happened so many times this year, unfortunately. But again, we can look at how well we did play in the first half, and it's finding out ways of sustaining that in second halves, in longer periods in games, and therefore we will win more games, and maybe scoring the second goal, so they don't have a chance to get back in the game. But,
yeah,
you know, yeah, we're hungry.
Good way to round it off. Guys, you've been watching the ME7 Podcast with Jonny Williams. Yeah, thanks for everything this season. Your support has been absolutely brilliant for both the team and the podcast. Yeah, let's see what we do next season together.